point about financing Turkey. I mean, it's always struck me that if you look at the smuggling economy for migrants, the kind of numbers you see, tens of billions of euros, suggest that some of the world's most desperate people are willing to collectively outspend European governments on trying to get to Europe. And should we not, it was 3 billion with Turkey, but we're far from being that full amount in terms of how much is being discharged. Should Europe be putting even more financial kind of clout in trying to settle people in the region?
Well, I think that the money best spent is money spent in the country of origin for those people. This is how we, what we try to do. We have actually increased the amount of money spent in Syria, Lebanon for many humanitarian projects, and this is in tens of millions of dollars now. So I absolutely agree with all the concepts of moving the help to other countries. Well, now it has to be wisely spent as well, because I can imagine that there are some dictators and some other people who would like to capture this money, and this would be a big mistake. At the same time, maybe it's worth mentioning that in Poland we also have a huge migration wave, and this is coming from Ukraine because of Ukrainian-Russian war. And many of them are migrant workers, but actually, even if you statistically look at from what areas people escape, then there is 20% of the population is living in the war area of Donetsk, Dnipropetrovsk. And statistically, we see hundreds of thousands of people fleeing from those areas. So they are almost as asylum seekers. But what we try to do, we try to accommodate them as well as possible, not in camps, but they are quite well dispersed around the country, and they are assimilating quite well. That's also true. That opposite to some migrants from some Northern African countries or from the Middle East. But I think that I would do more from the point of view of our situation. We will do more. I think the government of Poland, but also as a European Union, to help the countries in place where in situ, to help those people in different places where they are coming from.
And here I'll try to definitely make the link between external and migration and internal free movement. What are your priorities, or policy priorities? Because clearly you have a very strong opposition to the kind of quotas and relocation discussions we've had within Europe. And if that comes at the expense of either free movement or Schengen or the way the EU budget is used, is that worth it? I mean, is your opposition important enough that you would potentially carry the costs?
Well, if you ask this question, there very wide polls in Poland, 80% of the population is opposing to open borders to migrants which are coming from the Middle East. Well, maybe we may, you can imagine, one can imagine that this is not so important because in the context of the EU policy, we don't have to take this into consideration. We do take this into consideration. That's one point. We don't want to make such a critically important policy moves without consent of the wider population. One other element is this situation between Poland and Ukraine, and we think that we contribute to easing off huge tensions between Russia and Ukraine. There is this war at our border. And the third point is that I believe that we should spend more money, but not in such a way that we bring tens of millions of people who are very difficult to assimilate to Europe. I think that we, like Frederick Bastiat once said, that if the goods and services are not being moved between different countries, then people will move and soldiers will move. So we would like to avoid those movements of soldiers in particular, and therefore opening for trade, opening for free movement of freedom to provide services is one reply to this.
Liz, on the internal matter, on a pure